Some HOAs will fine you for the color of your mailbox, but mine sent actual thugs to my ranch. They thought they could intimidate me into submission, force me to comply with their rules, and make me pay bogus fees. But what they didn't know is that out here on the ranch, I don't call 911 first. I handle my own problems. And when Karen's hired muscle came stomping onto my land, they left crawling and begging to never see me again. I never asked for trouble. All I wanted was some peace on my 40-acre ranch in Texas. Horses, cattle, quiet evenings, and the freedom to breathe without anyone telling me what to do. But trouble has a way of finding you, especially when an HOA thinks they've got power over land that was never theirs. The Willow Creek Executive HOA claimed they had jurisdiction over all the surrounding properties. Even though my ranch sat well beyond their subdivision, they insisted I owed maintenance fees and had to follow their rules. When I ignored them, Karen showed up. Karen was a short, sharp woman in her 50s with bleached blonde hair, oversized sunglasses, and the kind of attitude that screamed, "I've never been told no in my life." She rolled up in a Lexus, parked right in front of my gate, and marched up like she owned the place. "You're late on your dues," she snapped. I laughed. "Lady, I don't live in your subdivision. This is private land. You don't own a square inch of it." Karen shoved a paper at me. "This is notice. You either pay $2,500 in HOA fees or face enforcement." I tore the paper in half right in front of her. "You step 1 foot past that gate again, and you'll regret it." Her lips curled into a smirk. "Oh, I don't need to step on your land. I've got people who will do it for me." And that's when I knew this wasn't going to end with paperwork. It was 3 a.m. a week later when the rumbling started. I woke to headlights bouncing across my pasture. 3 black SUVs crawled toward my ranch house. Doors opened, and 6 men stepped out. Heavy boots, leather jackets, flashlights cutting across the night. These weren't neighbors. These weren't board members. These were thugs. They spread out, heading for my barn, my tool shed, even the fence line, like they owned the place. I pulled on my boots, grabbed my rifle, and stepped onto the porch. "Private property!" I shouted. My voice carried across the dark fields. They froze for a moment, then laughed. One of them yelled back, "HOA business! Go inside before you get hurt!" That was the wrong answer. I chambered around and fired into the air. The crack echoed through the hills like thunder. My horses bolted, and the thugs scattered for cover. "You got 1 chance," I said coldly. "Leave now. Next one won't be a warning." Instead of leaving, they regrouped and advanced. The first guy came up my porch steps swinging a metal bat. I sidestepped and drove my boot straight into his stomach. He folded and tumbled back down the steps, gasping for air. The second tried to grab my rifle. Big mistake. I twisted the barrel up, slammed the buttstock into his jaw, and sent him sprawling into the dirt. 2 more rushed from the side, but my son Ethan, who had heard the commotion, came running with a lasso. He whipped it forward, snagged one thug by the ankles, and yanked hard. The guy face-planted into the gravel. The last 2 decided to rush the barn, maybe thinking they could set fire or wreck equipment. But that was my barn. I wasn't about to let them touch it. I sprinted across the yard, tackled one from behind, and twisted his arm until he dropped the crowbar. The other swung wild, but Ethan came in with a shovel, knocking the wind out of him. When the dust settled, 6 grown men lay scattered across my ranch yard, moaning, crawling, clutching bruises, and begging to leave. One of them, the one with the busted jaw, pulled out a phone. Between groans, he muttered, "Karen, it's bad. We can't." I snatched the phone from him and put it to my ear. "Karen," I said calmly, "next time you send people onto my land, make sure they can walk out when it's over." She screamed into the phone, This isn't over. I'll sue you. Click. I hung up. By sunrise, the sheriff was on my property, not because Karen called, but because I did. 6 men trespassing, attempted assault, destruction of property. The deputies cuffed them all and loaded them into cruisers. Karen actually had the nerve to show up in her Lexus demanding the sheriff arrest me. He turned to her and said flatly, "Ma'am, this is Texas. He had every right to defend his land. You and your board are looking at conspiracy charges." For the first time, Karen didn't have a comeback. The HOA board tried to distance themselves from Karen, but with phone records, texts, and the testimony of her own hired thugs, it all came crashing down. The HOA was slapped with lawsuits from half the neighborhood. Karen herself was charged with criminal solicitation and trespassing. Her Lexus was repossessed, her house went up for sale, and when I saw the moving truck haul her junk away a few months later, I sat on my porch with a cup of coffee and tipped my hat. My ranch is peaceful again. No more SUVs in the night, no more fake dues or intimidation tactics. Sometimes my neighbors ask how I stayed so calm when the thugs showed up. I tell them the truth. When you live on a ranch, you learn real quick. You don't back down when someone tries to take what's yours. You fight back, and you make sure they never forget why they should have stayed away. So let me ask you, if thugs showed up at your house in the middle of the night, would you fight back like I did, or call the cops and wait it out? Drop your answer in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more wild HOA nightmare stories.